When wireless is perfectly applied, the whole Earth will be converted into a huge brain, which in fact it is. All things being particles of a real and rhythmic whole, we shall be able to communicate with one another instantly, irrespective of distance. Not only this, but through television and telephony, we shall see and hear one another as perfectly as though we were face to face, despite intervening distances of thousands of miles. And the instruments through which we shall be able to do this will be amazingly simple compared with our present telephone. A man will be able to carry one in his vest pocket. I've been around technology since I was a child. I've been using the internet since I was about 3. Since my first trips to eBay wanting to buy a Nintendo DS, or playing Power Rangers Flash games on the internet, I've been obsessed with the technological world. That love for such a wide world never left me. Xbox after Xbox, PlayStation after PlayStation after PlayStation. My world of communication suddenly expanded from the people that I could physically meet around me to anyone around the globe through the use of Skype, Facebook, and Instagram. Online anonymity and protecting your privacy has always been an important part of the internet, but as time has progressed, the effects of social media have begun to show themselves.
The incredible events facing the world in the coming months as the year 2000 approaches will cause many to question what lies ahead for the world.
They are the first line of defense against the Y2K bug for classroom computers in Kanawha County. High school students are checking each machine to make sure it will work properly when the year 2000 rolls around.
For years they've been saying these things would change the world, would mature from adding machines and typewriters to tools of the human spirit. Now, maybe it's coming true because of Internet. Internet is a growing grid of independent computer networks interlaced. It's evolved from a U.S. military bulletin board in the 1970s to a worldwide computer switchboard.
So, first of all, do you two use social media?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
I use social media quite a bit. It's one of the main things I do in my spare time.
I do, yep.
I do. And what social media do you use?
I use Snapchat, Instagram. They're the main two.
Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram.
The social media I use the most is Snapchat. I use Instagram after that, and I occasionally go into Facebook, but not too often. Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, everything really.
And how often do you check social media?
Every 2 seconds, it's constantly on it, yeah.
A lot.
Not that much.
Oh, yeah. I probably use it like half of the day. Like I'm always checking social media. I always have my phone in my hand, always getting notifications and stuff.
Way more than I should. Probably multiple times in an hour.
A few times a day, for sure. It's kind of something that I utilize in my life, even for work as well.
Check a day? I would say over 20 times a day, at least.
What's your opinion on social media?
Personally, I think social media is, it really got what it set out to create, the connectedness of people. And I know there's lots of people who are really against the constant need to be on social media.
I think that it's a disease, and that if I could get rid of social media, I would, but I feel like I'm too addicted to it.
I think it's a wonderful thing if you don't think about all the negative stuff.
I think social media is a good thing. It is a tool that can be used in multiple ways. So like for work, for messaging.
But if you think of it as just a social thing, like chatting with people every day, it's very similar, and I feel like it's portrayed pretty negatively, but I don't think that's fair, personally.
Ultimately, people perceive social media completely differently to each other. Some view it as a tool, some view it as bad, some view it as good. I view social media as a distraction from the real world. In the process of making this film, it's incomprehensible how many times I looked down to check my phone, losing where I was at on a page of reading a book, or even in writing the script for this film. It's impossible to escape the notifications and the likes and the constant barrage of texts.
The social platform that were originally set up with the best of intention became quickly the largest, most powerful social conditioner of all time.
90% of 18 to 29-year-olds are on social media. We spend on average 2 hours a day there. We don't even eat for 2 hours a day. 70% of the Canadian population is on social media. Our voter turnout isn't even 70%. Anything we do this often is worthy of critical observation.
Nearly all social media platforms state in their privacy policies that they can use and sell your personal data and all the photos you post for advertising, marketing, and selling to businesses. Even though Facebook's privacy policy specifically states that they can provide any of the non-personally identifiable attributes that they have collected to advertisers, they continue to violate this policy. As not many people actually acknowledge, there are many more things affecting your life than just the anxiety of posting, missing out, or even addiction. It's your information that is affecting your life. I asked the students what they would think if there was a company that could use and abuse their content however they wanted, and this is how they responded.
It's super terrifying.
Well, personally, I've got a perspective that's a bit biased because I personally do a lot of data collection and that stuff in my spare time. But I would say, in terms of there being a company that can do that, that is, I would say, very detrimental to society.
I think that's kind of ridiculous that a company has that much information on you and is able to persuade your point of view on something that hard.
My opinion is it shouldn't happen.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because if that slight thing that you know is just like, oh, I'm getting targeted this thing. And then if you don't show interest, they'll pop up saying, hey, do you like this stuff? By gathering all the intel from every other app. It's kind of, it is scary to think that they know what you like, what you dislike, will get across to you and what won't.
I think it is a good tool to have, but without express permission, it's your private information.
Yeah, because on my phone I feel like I'm pretty safe, but I get scared that when I'm carrying my phone everywhere that they can actually hear what I'm saying, because sometimes I'll be talking about something and then I'll watch a YouTube video and the ad of what I was talking about would come up, and that really scares me. It's not just what I put out there, they're also in my daily life absorbing everything.
Because that is essentially, it's tricking people into doing something they wouldn't otherwise do through false information, which is obviously wrong. But I feel really all of the privacy stuff that's been happening lately, it's all targeted at the small group of companies that are doing very bad things. But most of the companies that are using large sets of data, they're not doing it to do anything detrimental to you. Really, the only places that it could be bad for you personally is in terms of insurance and in terms of places like elections and people where your opinions is very important.
And these students were right about how they were describing a company like this, about a company being able to influence such a huge amount of people. Obviously, companies like this exist, like Cambridge Analytica and the SCL Group, who have influenced elections in over 60 countries in the last 25 years. One of the most controversial and influential one of those being the US 2016 election. I believe we should all be more cognizant of the world around us. There's no way of reversing what's happened. It's possible that there will be no free or fair elections again without social media tampering. The only thing we can do is limit the amount of data we produce that is being shared, and think about how this data and these social media platforms influence our day-to-day life. Maybe even one day you'll figure out that scrolling through social media just isn't worth your time and log off.